Once you've mastered summary and quotation, you're ready to get into the meat of an argument, agreeing and disagreeing. The key to agreeing or disagreeing successfully is to provide reasons. I agree and I disagree don't tell us much or add anything to the conversation. But statements like, I agree because the data support that conclusion, or I disagree because our experience points to the opposite conclusion, give us solid material we can debate. Like with summary and quotations, templates can help you formulate arguments in varied and nuanced ways. Here are some different ways to structure agreement and disagreement. Notice how each template is different not just stylistically, but also in its logic. First, disagreeing with reasons. X is mistaken because she overlooks X's claim that relies on the questionable assumption that X's view that is problematic because, as recent research has shown, X contradicts himself. On the one hand, he argues that, on the other hand, he also claims that by focusing exclusively on X overlooks the deeper problem of X claims, but we don't need her to tell us that. Anyone familiar with has long known that. One of my favorite techniques for disagreeing is known as the twist-it move. It takes a lot of confidence, but can be highly effective when executed well. Here's a claim I will then disagree with using the twist-it move. First, the claim. The university's budget is severely overextended. The only feasible option is to impose a hiring freeze. Now, the counterclaim, which uses the twist-it move. I agree that the university is cash-strapped, but that is precisely why we need to hire more instructors, so that we can lower the student-teacher ratio and attract more students along with the revenue that they bring. Often, in an argument, you won't simply agree or disagree, but instead will fall somewhere in between. Here are some ways you can agree, but with a difference. I agree that because my experience confirms it. X is correct that, indeed, recent studies have shown that X's theory is extremely useful because it sheds light on the difficult problem of the theory of X boils down to the idea that you might also agree and disagree simultaneously. This example emphasizes disagreement. Although I agree with X to a point, I do not share his conclusion that. Conversely, this example emphasizes agreement. Although I disagree with much of what X argues, I share her conclusion that. Here are a few more. Though I concede that, I still insist that X is right that, but she stands on shakier ground when she argues that while X provides ample evidence that Y and Z's research on convinces me that instead. Finally, it's perfectly valid to express ambivalence. While I share X's view that, I also find Y and Z's argument that to be equally persuasive. Just like with quotation templates, these might feel awkward at first, but experimenting with them in your writing will help make your arguments more complex and persuasive.